Hello, are we live? Can everybody hear me? Maybe post a comment. This is the first time I'm doing this, so anyone? So I'm not sure whether anybody is watching, but we'll go in live now. Oh yeah, we've got 2 people watching. So hello everybody and welcome. This is my first ever live stream. So if you've been here, thank you very much for joining. It's really appreciated. I just had a video premiere where I was talking about technology in bikes, and so I've invited a few very special friends to join in this live stream and kind of continue the discussion. And I hope you can join in the chat as well. So make some comments over there. Just before we get started, a bit of news about the channel. Just very recently, we went over the threshold for the first stage of monetization. So we're not at 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours yet, but we have over 500 subscribers, and we've got 3,000 watch hours, which means that now I can offer channel memberships and chat super thanks and super chat and some of that nonsense. I'm not sure whether any of you are interested in that. I just thought I'd let you know. I've got my own thoughts on that coming up in a video in a few weeks, and I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that yet, but just to let you know. Anyway, let's get on with the topic here, and let's invite a couple of people. Well, 3 people actually. So we've got exeterrider, and then we've got Richard and Carol. So without further ado, let me bring them in.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi. Hello. Great to see you guys. Great to see you, exeterrider. Richard, Carol, you're looking well. Did you anybody go out for a ride today?
No.
Well, I did. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, I've been out to meet with Saddlebag 73, Western Supermotor Vlogs, and Epic Adam today at the local cafe about 10 miles away from me in a place called Crediton. And yeah, it's really good to see him, actually. Really good chat and yeah, good old laugh. So we stayed there for about an hour and a half.
How is that place? Is it a good spot for like a biker meetup?
It is really nice. It's only a small little cafe, but it's big enough to not feel lost in there, but big enough to make it feel nice as well. And it's a nice setup there. Lovely food. Coffee's always hot, and comes out lovely and hot, rather than some places, other places I've been where it comes out a bit lukewarm. But yeah, no, it's really good.
That's important on a day like today.
Have you got heated gear on?
I got heated gloves and lots of layers. What about you guys, Richard, Carol? I saw a video from you guys, I think earlier this weekend, where you went out recently.
That was Boxing Day.
It was Boxing Day.
That's the last time the bikes have been out.
You took a bit of persuading, didn't you?
Yeah, I wasn't very keen, but I enjoyed it when we got going.
It was good. Right. It was good, and we were testing out a few things that didn't really work with our audio. That's why the audio sounds a bit rubbish on it. But yeah.
It's not too bad. I think your audio is better than my one. I just watched the video and I was embarrassed about how much wind noise I'm getting from on my microphone.
When you get back sometimes, it's so disappointing when you think you've said all these things and then it's like unusable.
You think, well, you can't even use that. You can't broadcast it. So
it's hard. Yeah.
I've got to work on my setup. Anyway, so I actually did go out for a ride today, and I unfortunately saw a rider in front of me go down on some ice.
Ooh, nasty.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't me, before anyone asked.
And I actually went to help him. I stopped my bike and I went to help him. And when I got there, I nearly fell over. I was on my feet and I nearly fell over because there was a bit of sheet of ice where he went. So he had absolutely no chance. But yeah, but all worked out okay. We went up to TTT Village in Sudbury. So anybody in the east of England, that's a lovely spot to go. They got tons of bikes and a great cafe, and the coffee and the teas are always hot, which is important. But yeah. Anyway, so onto the main topic, if we may. So Richard, as I said to you earlier on, I'd watched a video of yours last year where you talked about kind of your experiences with technology and with keyless keyless start on motorcycles, and that kind of inspired the little video that just premiered, where I was trying out this bike, this BMW RS, and it had keyless and stuff, and I can't see the point of some of that tech. Some people like it. I think AndyGSA was saying he loves having keyless, so he doesn't have to take his keys out of his pocket after he's put all his gear on.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Sorry, I don't think it's any secret to anybody that watches our channel. We're not massive fans of all the high tech stuff on the bikes. We just think it bumps the prices up, and some of it is even annoying. I mean, certainly the keyless systems that a lot of manufacturers are using. I mean, you referred to my test when I took out, I think, a Triumph Rocket on a dealer day, and there was a line of, I think, 6 or 8 of us all waiting to go, you know, and it was a lead ride, so yeah, we were just following everybody else, and they gave me my key, which I'd put in my pocket, and the bike simply wouldn't wake up. It wouldn't start. You know, I was waving, and the Triumph guys are coming over. They looked at the, you know, key. Yes, it's wrong to the right bike. Give it to the back. No, still won't start. I cut a load of it out of the video because it was like about 5 minutes while we're trying to get this bike going. And then I think it was either my phone or my batteries from my GoPro, which were in the same pocket. I separated them, the bike started up, and it just
can't really see the point of keyless. I mean, especially as they still give you a great big fob.
It was a huge fob as well. It wasn't a small thing.
So you've got to have that in your pocket then.
Yeah, and then we rode the bikes down the road, and the first thing we've got to do is fill them with fuel because they're all empty. And blame me,
I know what's coming here.
You've got to have your key to open the fuel cap. So you've got to go back into your pocket to go and get it out. I mean, keyless kind of makes more sense if everything on the bike is keyless. But all the bikes I've had so far, it's just the ignition. You know,
I think BMW do it that even your panniers are keyless and everything, aren't they? They all link. I think they're all the same, aren't they? On the same system.
It's a brilliant system when it keeps working, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like all these.
So when you went to get fuel for that Triumph, was it electronic fuel cap as well? Did you have that?
No, it wasn't. No, that's what I'm saying. I had to go into the pocket to get it out.
Yeah. Because the one on the Tiger was keyless ignition, keyless fuel cap. But I didn't know how to work it. You have to push a button on the bars and then push another button. But also it had keyless steering lock as well. You know, how many little motors do you need to activate all these things, which cost £500 at a time? There's something about getting on your bike, putting the key in, twisting it, and off you go, isn't it? They're not giving us that.
I'll go back to another experience of keyless, and I'm going back nearly a decade now, when I had a Multistrada 1200, and I had one of the new, it was an early model then, so they've probably got better, but that I daren't actually engage the steering lock, because so many times I went to the bike, unlocked it, and that had got electronic steering lock, and you get the message come up, steering lock not disengaged, do not ride. You could start it up, but the steering lock was still on. So I got to the point where I didn't put the steering lock on, did I? And it's stuff like that just annoys you, really. I just don't see what's wrong with having a normal key, a small key that easily goes into your pocket. You just put into the key and turn. When you turn it round the other way, it locks the steering.
So we're getting a few comments. We're getting a few comments here from AndyGSATractor and Riggsville, saying that, you know, they love their keyless and never had a problem. So AndyGSA is saying 2 years with keyless, never had a problem. And I guess when I went on the R1300 GS, that also had keyless. And when I went to fill up after the ride, because they did ask for me to fill up, which is the first time I think anybody's asked me to do that. But the fuel cap you didn't need to get the key out. You could just stop and lift it, and it would lift up. So I guess there are different people have different opinions on this, right? And I think Biker Buddy is making a great point here. is that the motorcyclists, not me, but motorcyclists as a class are demanding this technology, and therefore the manufacturers put it in.
That's
So
what we found.
who's asking for this?
Right.
And I think that was my point in the video when I said, you know, because I guessed because bikers are getting older, right? As a class of people, there's not a lot of young people getting into biking. There's not a lot of people getting into driving. It seems to be on the way, and that whole freedom of the road and whatever. But as a community, bikers are getting older, and as we're getting older, we obviously have more disposable income because we're further along in our careers. We have more money, and then we want to have a toy. We don't really want to have a cheap mode of transport. We want to have something that we can show off to our mates at the cafe, you know, with all the toys. And
I ride an NC750. I'm not going to be showing off.
You're showing off.
That's a great bike, actually. I've ridden that.
It is actually. Thank you, Richard. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, I mean, is there anything to that? I mean, I think there's a point to this. It's older bikers are demanding this technology, and maybe it's a jewelry thing. It's a bling thing. It's a way of showing off
Flexing
in a way. You know, I've got that many brake horsepower and this electronic active suspension. Blah 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 blah. Well, what do you guys think of that?
Well, I think there's a degree of willy waving, isn't there? You know, that people say, well, I've got the best, and
all the bells and whistles.
Certainly on the PCP deals, you're going to think, well, just for a few quid more, I may as well have exactly what I want, and I want everything. And there's a lot of bikes get spec right up like that because they're not actually paying out the whole lump sum. They're just paying a monthly fee.
Yeah.
And that monthly fee is giving them everything they could possibly want. And when you
don't need
a full warranty, why not? Because you're thinking, well, if anything goes wrong with all that tech, it's all covered in warranty anyway. So that's why so many high-tech bikes are landing on the road, in my opinion. I mean, we had a night at Triumph, didn't we? And we had a chance to talk to one of the high-up people in Triumph. And I said, how come the new Tiger 1200 has got just electronic suspension on? You can't have base suspension. And he says, basically, they don't sell it. If they put base suspension on it, everybody would go for the high model, the higher up model, and they just wouldn't sell any of them. That's how he explained it to me. And they were competing with the competition, the likes of BMW. And he says, if somebody else offers this tech and we haven't got it, we potentially going to lose sales. So we have to offer everything that everybody else is offering. And it's a tech war between all the big manufacturers with their top of the range bikes. If one's got radar cruise control on it, everybody else has then got to have radar cruise control. I don't want radar cruise control. I barely use the cruise control that's on my MT10. I touch it a couple of times, maybe if I'm on a long motorway journey where the motorway is empty. Other than that, I just like the control of going faster and slowing down by turning the twist grip, you know. So
for me, I must admit, I do like the sound of that radar cruise control. Would I ever buy a bike with it? No, definitely not, because I think it's silly money once you start going into that. But I do like the sound of it. And just a point I wanted to make on keyless ignition, which is good, I'm going to flip it around, is the security benefits. I'm not saying it's perfect, because apparently some people can get a computer outside your front door and tag it into your keyless key and then ride it off. However they do that, I don't know. But you can't just jam a screwdriver in like the old Cortinas and just twist it and off you go. Another example of that is the Honda Cub 125. That's got keyless. Again, maybe
people can't keep a Range Rover on the storage.
I think by theft, if they wanted to steal your bike, they'd probably just break whatever steering lock there is, load it into a van, and drive away with it, and then try to figure it out.
Just push them away with a moped. They don't even bother trying to start them there, and then they start them later.
And then they can
Yeah.
probably just steal some parts off of it, like steal the brake calipers or whatever, strip it off and sell it on the market and make money off of that. They don't even need a bike because they can just, you know, the exhaust or whatever else.
Yeah. And another thing with the Triumph as well, when I had the 1200 Tiger, the delivery guy said to me, make sure you turn the key fob off every time, which you don't. You just put it in your pocket, you go off and do what you want to do. You can't be bothered to turn it off. But if the battery goes, then you have to go through some sort of process, which I can't remember what it was now, but it was a right pain, you know, just because your key fob's died on you. You know, you have to turn it off every time. It's just a lot of faffing around. But to be fair, BMW, from my experience, like what Andy said, they seem to have the keyless ride quite reliable compared to many other brands. From my experience, I could be wrong, but
well, I think that's the key thing with all the tech on the bikes. If it's reliable, people don't have problems. It's great, isn't it? But how many times do you see stories of the likes of KTMs having to go back to the dealer because there's an error code thrown up because one of the parameters has moved out and it has to go back in to be reset?
Okay,
CO2 sensors.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So just a second, because I think we're in danger of devolving into a bunch of kind of grumpy old people
We're proud of it, aren't we?
who none of them like technology. So for the interest of balance, because I've been looking at the comments here, and AndyGSATractor loves his keyless, and he's never had a problem with it. So in the interest of balance, I'm going to invite him in and let him have a say as well. Is that okay?
Oh, I'm going then.
Bye. Hi, Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Hi, everyone.
Come on, Andy. Have your say. Counterpoint here. Counterpoint.
I mean, for me, when it comes to the keyless, I mean, most of our cars are keyless now, and for me to have keyless is great because it's fine. Like Richard said, if it does everything, it's great. I pull up at a fuel station, my fuel cap's locked. I get X amount of time once I've turned the ignition off to open the fuel cap. So that's on keyless. And we've all done it. We've all got our gear on. We've all got on our bikes. We've all got our gloves on. And then we've all gone, keys. And we've all had to get them off again. For me, I think certain manufacturers have nailed it now with the keyless. It's the way it's going to go. It's no different than having a key. If you lose your key, you're up the Swanee. But you know, if you've got the option, but what manufacturers are not doing are giving people the option. You should be able to walk into a showroom. When I walked in to buy the BMW, it was this is the model. You can have this, you can have this, you can have this. But I couldn't turn around and say, well, I don't want keyless and I don't want this because the option's not there. So whether it's down to the manufacturer, I know on the lower models, I believe Haggis Whisper and that's got the 800, and I believe they get options there. But on their top models, they're not giving you options. For me, I love keyless. It's not for everyone, but I think it's great. I put my clothes on, my keys in my pocket. I haven't got to worry about it. The key's got to be within a meter of the bike as well. So it ain't like you can sit in a cafe and someone across the other side of the car park can wheel your bike away. It's got to be within a meter of the bike. Most cars are keyless now.
Yeah, I mean, I had keyless on my Pathfinder. I put a comment when I bought my Pathfinder because I have four kids, and when they were younger, I needed a 6-seater or a 7-seater. So I bought a Pathfinder, and that had keyless. And that was great because you come with the shopping and you want to load it into the boot, and you can just press the button and up it comes. And some of the newer cars, you can just wave your foot underneath the sensor if you've got the key in your pocket, and the thing will lift for you, and that's very convenient. But I wanted to ask you a question. What happens? Have you ever had this case where the battery goes flat on your fob?
Well, on my particular bike, the bike actually warns me that the battery's running low, so I get a 50% warning, 30% warning, and a 20% warning. If you're stupid enough to leave it, what can I say? Most shops sell it's a 20 CR32, little round battery that fits in most watches. So you can walk into any garage and buy one, but the bike, it comes up on your dashboard and tells you, I've changed my battery once in 2 years, and that because it come up with a 50% warning. So I just changed it. £3, job done. Get about it for another few years.
Okay.
What you don't get as well, we all tour. We all enjoy riding throughout the year. You don't go up to your lock. You can't get your key in because someone's been sticking sticks in it, or it's frozen. None of that. None of them issues. No water ingress gets into them. There are advantages, I believe, of having keyless over having a key. We've all been out to our cars 20, 30 years ago, and we're trying to pour water on the lock because the key won't go in the lock. You get that on bikes as well.
Blimey, I thought it was cold today, but I've never been out where there's ice
I
on
think
the lock.
-7. It's the coldest
yeah.
I've rode in, and I wouldn't want to ride any colder than that. That was enough for me.
Wow. Biker Buddy has made a point here. I didn't know about this. Is it? He's saying you can't insure a Range Rover in London because they have keyless.
I'm guilty of owning a Range Rover, and my insurance on my car particularly went up 30%. There's a new way of breaking into them. Range Rover are now doing a recall to try and overcome that.
I heard about this.
So yeah, my insurance actually, for the first time in probably 30 years, I couldn't get it cheaper. You know, like when the insurance company sends you a renewal and you ring them up and you go, I can get it cheaper, blah blah blah, and then they'll go and look at it. My insurance company said we can't do it any cheaper, and that was the end of it.
Right.
Wow.
So yeah, there is a big problem with that at the minute.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
what other tech do you have on your bike? Because I think we've done keyless fobs to death here, but there's other technology, right?
Electronic, yeah. There's suspensions for starters. Obviously, unlike Richard and Carol, I tend to ride pillion where they ride their own bike. So once their suspension's set up for them, it's okay. They might have to wind a little bit more preload on if you're carrying extra luggage. But with a BMW, it's all automatic. No matter what weight I put on the bike will compensate an auto level. So for me, there's no flapping around. I haven't got to set it for rider and pillion. I haven't got to set this. The dampening's all done on the fly. But again, if it goes wrong, would I want to fork out to have that? I don't know. I'm really dubious about owning that bike out of warranty. I've got a 3-year warranty. I've got a year left. If I have to hang on to it for another year because there's not really anything out there yet I would pay the £500 or £600 for the year's peace of mind personally. Just for a headlight. A headlight, 1,200 quid if your headlight goes. Again, that's another bit of technology
How
on
much?
that bike. 1,200 quid. It's a sealed unit. Okay, now when you accelerate and brake, the headlight's quicker than you are. It adjusts so quickly. It also turns into corners, so it lights up round corners. So it's fully adaptive. But again, it's a lot of money. If your headlight's 1,200 quid, how much is the suspension?
But do you actually need that tech? Do you actually need that tech? Because it's nice while you've got the warranty, but if you were buying that bike as a second-hand bike out of warranty, for me, all that tech would concern me about the expense of fixing it if it goes wrong. That
is a concern. I don't think that's the problem we've got at the moment. The technology on the bike, I think it was 2018, 2019 that tech come up. I'd like to see some figures on how much of it has actually failed and people have had to replace. Being on we're all on our bike forums. If you own a bike, the first thing you join is a forum. Everyone joins a forum, and you only ever hear about the bad things. These bikes are made in masses, so you've got 20,000 people on a forum. 4 people are moaning about a certain thing. The other 19,600 never had a problem.
Nobody ever goes on the forum to say my bike has had no issues whatsoever, and I'm super happy with it, right?
People don't, do they? That's the thing. But it's like anything else. Would you be put off of buying a new car because in 4 years' time, once it's out of warranty, something happens to the gearbox? You never know. It's one of those things. I think that you have to sort of hope that there isn't a problem, look at the masses and just think, well, that bloke's had the same bike for 9 years. He's never had a problem. Hopefully I won't.
Yeah. It's a longevity thing, isn't it? With bikes or cars or even vans. I've got an old 2001 Volkswagen T4 and it's solid. It's simple, solid. It's got fuel injection, everything that I need without having the dual mass flywheels that the T5 had, which are terrible problems apparently.
I had one of those on my Lexus and that was a fortune to replace the dual mass on that.
Yeah, 1,600 quid, for a dual mass flywheel.
Yeah.
And even my my Renault Traffic, I've had a new gearbox which is known for going and a new clutch. And when I had it done, I said to the chap, I said to him, what is a good van these days? And he said, there honestly isn't a good van now. You know, I'll see you in 20,000 miles to get it done again. Cheers, mate. You know,
So-
that's what you want to hear, isn't it?
And
I'm hoping
maybe,
the
maybe that's the
custom's
point
all
of
right.
it, right?
That's
Custom,
is it the fact that people that don't want that tech are worried if it's going to fail and cost them a lot of money in the long run, or is it, you know, is the tech there now? Is it reliable enough to rely on for the next, say, 10, 15 years?
We don't know yet.
Well, I think there are
We
two
don't
main
know.
things.
That's the thing, isn't it?
So there's two main things as far that come to mind, right? First of all, I mean, you mentioned your worries about owning this bike when it's out of warranty. So it's all fantastic if you're buying new, if you go into the shop and buy new and taking that initial depreciation hit, or you're doing the PCP deal, and you're always buying a new bike every 3 or 4 years. But those are expensive, right? So my worry is for new people who are, you know, younger people who don't have the kind of money that we've accumulated over our lifetimes and careers. It becomes difficult to buy a bike. And there was something else, but yeah, and you know, these days you can still go out and buy a bike from the 80s or the 90s and ride it. Are we going to be able to buy a bike from the 2020s in 30
Probably
years
not,
time
is my
and
guess.
ride it?
That's the
Because
thing,
something to
it's
go
also
wrong,
as
the
well-
software won't be updated, and then they'll just say, sorry, but the actual ECU is gone, which you can't get anymore. We can't reprogram it, because they are making... I'll tell you a perfect example. Plumbing college now, plumber that I was working with a little while ago, they were saying to him, don't build things that last. It's not good for business. That come from the actual tutor's mouth. He said, don't do things too properly. Make it look neat, make it look good, but nothing's built to last, and that's good for the industry. Say no more.
I always suspected that. I always suspected
plumbers.
that. It's plumbers and electricians, isn't it? Did they teach you?
I think,
I think I used to have a mate who was an electrician, and he said one of the first things they teach you in electrician college is how to go.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, I've got it. I can do that perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah. And is it? That's one amount, and that's
Yeah.
double.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know, I don't know if the reliability is there with tech.
No,
It's got to be. I mean, it's been on. Look at older Mercedes. You can take a 30-year-old Mercedes that's, you know, it's the first car ever with aircon, and it's still going. You know,
Yeah. My
everything's moving
BMW.
forward.
somebody. I watched the video.
Everything's moving forward.
Yeah.
Can you
I
have
watched-
too much
Oh,
tech?
I mean, I watched
Probably, but-
on that subject. I watched a video a little while ago about I can't remember who it was from. Basically saying if you buy something that was built in the 80s and 90s, say a Japanese car in the 80s and 90s, that's the most reliable car you're ever going to get, because they were building it. They knew how to make it reliable. And nowadays, what's happened is with all of the computer-assisted manufacturing and design, and all of the accountants getting involved, they're basically saying, well, people are really doing what they're doing is they're buying a vehicle on 3 years or 4 years PCP deal. And in 4 years' time, what they're going to do is they're going to chuck it back in and they're going to get something new. So there's no point you making a car that's going to last 10, 20 years, because that's going to cost you more. Because it's going to cost you more to make, and therefore your car is going to be more expensive, and your competition is going to have the business. So make a car, design it so that it's becomes unreliable and obsolete in about 4 years' time.
Yeah.
Because then that's when people are chucking it back in anyway.
Yep.
Another question I want to ask is there any more tech you can actually get on a bike? I think we're at the limit of tech on bikes now. Suspension, tick, electronics, tick. There's nothing else you can physically put on the bike.
They'll find something, mate. There's people working day and night to find something.
But what can you physically put on a bike
beautiful.
now that the latest bikes haven't already got?
That.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Would you ride that?
But then you say that, but then
I'll
when we
give
go
it a
to
go.
electric, so...
There's plenty of room for stickers on that.
Yeah, I've got enough. I can probably cover one side of it. Yeah.
I don't know what
Sorry.
bit of tech. Sorry, Richard. What bit of tech would you put on a bike that you think would benefit you that bikes already haven't got? I can't think of anything.
There's nothing.
Nothing.
Crash detection, maybe that's the only thing that's not fitted. Crash detection, the newer cars, you know.
They could design
Other
something
than
that would
that-
stop you from crashing on ice. I would buy that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's called a car. Don't get on a bike.
I sat on the new BMW 1300 GS at the bike show, and it was one that was coupled up. You guys might have done the same. It got all the dash coupled up, and you could go through the menus. And to be honest with you, I found the complicated menu quite intimidating.
Mm.
I would have to.
The thing is, 90% of it you won't ever use.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. Yeah.
And
You won't use it. It's there, but you won't use it.
Yeah, and
once it's set, it's set.
On me. It really is, and a lot of other people will love all the adjustability, but for me, I don't know.
The thing is, I just leave mine on automatic.
So
yeah, there's a lot. Have you sat on the? I think it's the 1600 BMW. They're big Tourer GTL. Have you seen the dashboard on that?
It's huge. It's like
the RT
telly.
You'd get a stiff neck just from going one side of the screen to the other. Massive. I think that's overkill.
I've got is that if I had a bike like that was even my favorite bike, I don't know if you guys know, is the BMW RT. I just love that bike. Okay, lovely to ride, so much going for it. But the new one, the TFT is, I think it's 9 or 10-inch TFT.
It's massive.
It is massive. And if I park it in town, I'm going to be on tenterhooks. So it takes some drunk or some kid to come along and go smash to your screen, and you're $6,000 out of pocket, aren't you? I don't want to feel like that.
But I don't know. I mean, it's like my screen. They're only held on with 4 rubber bungs. When they first come out, you can literally grab it either side, pull it, whole screen's off and gone.
Wow. Yeah, I heard about it.
I've got a frame around mine that locks it in and protects it. But I believe even the new 1300s, you can still go, I'll have that. What BMW thinking of?
Well, they're thinking of you having to come into the dealership and says, I need a replacement.
Yeah, order a new one.
That's if you can get one.
Okay. Yeah. Well, being that my day job is as a management consultant, I love a set of slides. So I came up with this, right? So I had.
Oh God, I feel quite tired.
All right, bye everyone.
Are they this evening? Are they?
But I had, I kind of class this, the good, the bad, and the pricey, right? You got good things like ABS, traction control. I think they help you. Shift cam helps you with the performance. TFT displays give you fantastic readability, and you can customize your display and show exactly what you want. And cruise control helps you on your motorway journeys, and maybe the radar one. But I sorry, Andy, I disagree with you. I had the keyless under the bad because I just don't see the point.
If we were all the same, we'd be boring.
I've got my key on the little.
Put Andy back in his box.
Yeah, exactly. and I'll worry about the distraction that it causes with all the information that you have, information overload, and infotainment, connecting into your phone for music and videos and whatever. And you see them riding around in London, playing YouTube videos. Unfortunately, not mine, but
I've seen that.
And people trying to change their settings on the fly. What's the point? And then I have things like the pricey. I mean, replacing a TFT display versus fixing a traditional gauge cluster. If you have active suspension, and if that has a problem, how much is that going to cost you to fix? The radar, if that goes wrong, how much is that going to cost you to fix? And the servicing and repair bills, and the impact on reliability.
I know BMW could be expensive, but I don't think it's overly expensive to get my GS serviced. I mean, I had all the valve clearances done, a full service, all the valve clearances done, hire, a courtesy bike, etc., and that was 420 something quid. I didn't think that was too bad.
Yeah, but to be fair, you have an R engine. So an R engine is got the things on the outside.
Plugs on the outside.
So it's the simplest one. All you have to do is lift the thing and do the valve checks there. But if you had an XR, an inline 4, an S engine from BMW, then it's the whole tank out.
I look just getting the GTL for touring, which is the 6-cylinder, and a standard service on that is £1,200.
Wow,
standard service, because it takes 4.5 hours to get to the spot.
Yeah.
Mm.
My
I'll be
I
sat on
had
top
my
of the
mate
bridge
my
if
mate
that
at
happened to
work.
me.
I'll be buying another
Me.
bike and just throwing it away.
So when I was first getting into biking, I had a mate at work who had he still has the 1600, the K16, and he basically said it's fantastic, and BMW warranty and service are fantastic, but you become really good mates with the service manager. You help put his kids through private school. And his bike, we used to call his bike Trigger's Broom because he had everything when he changed on the warranty: the tank, the suspension, the engine because the paint was flaking, the tank because the fuel gauge stopped working, blah 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 blah.
The early models had crank problems as well, by the way. They had a whole bottom end rebuild in the Gen 1s. Massive job. Sorry,
Yeah.
Dave, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine. And I've just the one PowerPoint. I'm sorry, and I'm really sorry about that. It's just like it's a reflex.
It's great.
Pooley saying had the radar go funny on a the bike didn't go forward anymore. Had to do the classic, turned it off and back on again.
Reboot. I would like to say something that I do think is really good technology, and that is blind spot mirrors for us bikers. When you're going along a dual carriageway, you see a little flicker up on their mirror. So if they do look in it, and you're in their blind spot, in that split second as you're passing, they're going to look and think, "Oh, there's something in my blind spot. Oh, there he is."
You assuming?
So I think that is good technology.
To have that, you need the radar.
Yeah, you're assuming that they're going to look. You're talking about the cars having it, right? Exeterrider?
Cars, yeah.
The cars having it, right? But that assumes that they're looking at it and not their phones. I wouldn't trust
Yeah, but if they go from lane to move out, you've got that sort of that blind spot bit, which the light is going to say there's someone in your blind spot, rather than it's okay, out I go. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the point I'm trying to make is this, right? What if you're looking at somebody coming towards you and they've got their indicator on? What does that tell you?
It means the indicator
They're
works.
turning.
Yeah.
No, it means the indicator's working. It means the light bulb's not bust. That's all. That's all I take from it. And if
It's not a BMW.
Tells me it's not a BMW or an Audi.
Yeah, and if I see that the light's flashing on the blind spot detector, all that tells me is that's working. It doesn't tell me that they've seen it. I don't trust it. I don't trust anyone.
No, I get you. I don't mean you got to rely on it, but at least
there
it's
is an
another
aid, isn't
fail-safe
it?
for them.
Yeah.
And it's something that's going to flash up saying there's somebody beside you. And
Nothing beats a lifesaver. Check that shoulder.
No,
I drive hundreds of miles a day, and I will still turn my head and look, and not just rely on my mirrors when I'm on a motor. It's habit.
As you should. So that's really good. But yeah, I think my worry as well in part of the video when I was saying is, like, as I said, if you're younger, if you're coming through, and I was out with a group today, and there was a guy there, really very young, getting into bikes. He was a fantastic biker, by the way. He was riding a 125 in our group, and we're all kind of he was our IAM, but the new associate, so they're still going through the course. And this guy was on a 125, and he was proper riding that thing, ragging it, and he was doing some proper overtakes, really, really good.
really,
But
wow.
Oh yeah, he was on it. I was bloody impressed. I think he's going to be fantastic. Anyway, my point is, when this kid comes out and he wants to say, no, I want to upgrade my bike and I want to get something a bit better, there are very few options that are not loaded with all this technology and aren't super pricey, because motorbikes are supposed to be a nice, cheap mode of transport. If you wanted something expensive, frankly, Andy, if I wanted something that costs 20 grand, I get a Pathfinder, right? I want something that's a hell of a lot less than that for a motorcycle. So there are very few options out there, I think. Maybe some of the new Chinese stuff, the Royal Enfields, and then
I think there's still plenty of choice. I think there's still plenty out there. You got the Honda CB500 range that mate you could go on to. They're brilliant bikes, solid, fun, reliable, fast enough. I question your point about the shift cam technology. I mean, it's great, but I don't know where the line is. I mean, we're all different, aren't we? We all want different sorts of power and etc. But I mean, the shift cam gives you that extra bit of power, but you've already got loads anyway. So, don't know. I mean,
Well,
it doesn't really bother me. But
when I was in France with the IM and my coach there, a guy who's been riding for yonks, and he's forgotten more about motorcycling than I'll ever learn. He made a point to me. I'm not sure if it's true, but I because of who he is, I kind of took it as gospel. He said, nobody on the road uses more than 60 horsepower anyway. Because to use 110 or 140, that's on my Kawasaki came off the factory with, you'd have to be at the peak rev for the revs for the peak power output with the throttle fully open. And whoever does that, maybe in first gear, and I'd probably be breaking the law at that point. So
for me, the power is there to help you overtake and get back in safe. That's why I mean, I've got 150 horsepower, and I don't use it all the time, but occasionally when you want to make a quick overtake, you're out, you're back in safely, really quickly.
Yeah.
But I think the point was, and I'm not doubting you, Richard, but were you actually, when you do that, are you at the whatever 10,500 RPM with the throttle fully pinned open?
Nah.
Exactly. So you're probably not using.
If you were doing that, you'd be on the back wheel, really. So
yeah, I have an on MT10.
See,
I didn't take a video of it, but
no, we can't put those sorts of videos on YouTube anymore, can you?
Not without a knock on the door. I mean, for me, having the 1250 and 140 brake and 100 and whatever it is foot-pound of torque, when I'm 2 up and the bike's fully loaded, I wouldn't want a bike of around 500 to 700 cc because it won't have enough power to pull up some of the, you know yourself, Richard and Carol, some of the passes in Europe. To go up that 2 up, fully loaded, this is on the back, the weight of the bike and us 2 on it's probably pushing 500 kilos. You need that grunt and that extra horsepower to help you.
It's nice to have.
Yeah, it's there. I've done touring on a 650. I had a 650 Kawasaki, and yeah, we struggled. That bike lasted about 8 months, and then it had to go. And when again, I moved on to 1000s versus. I believe Richard, you had one.
I had a 1000 cc versus, which is a really good bike. Great bike.
Yeah, I've done 70,000 miles on that bike, 10 countries. Loved it to bits. But then wanted to move on to something else. So, you know, there is a line for me personally. I can only really afford to run and maintain one bike. Ideal world, I'd like 2 or 3 bikes, but I can only, so that bike for me has to do everything. And some of the tech on that bike has saved my life. The ABS for sure has saved us on a few occasions.
ABS is a really positive thing on any motorbike.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, and obviously on my particular bike, I've got corner assist braking. So if I do go into a corner and I've overcooked it, I can slam them brakes on, knowing that bike's going to stay in that corner, not stand up and send me off the side of the road. You know, once or twice.
You need that, dear.
We all need it. I suffered really badly when I first passed my test of target fixation. I'd stare at a curb and I'd just start heading towards it. But the funny thing was, my mate who's been riding all his life, follow me. And I'm like, you see me do it? He said, well, I'm watching you.
Yeah.
That's the worst feeling in the world, having target fixation.
But
yeah, no.
Do you not think that all this tech now, and people coming into riding these bikes with all the tech, they won't have built up the skills of braking correctly and
there is that fear,
carefully with 100 odd horsepower, that it's not going to step out of the back when you're in the corner. You know, I had a Bandit 1200, and that all it got was ABS, nothing else. And if you're on the wet road, you open the throttle hard on that, the back wheel was spinning up like nobody's business, and you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So and I still open the throttle carefully these days, even though I've got traction control on my MT10, because it just seems the right thing to do. But there's going to be plenty of people that have never experienced that thing of the back stepping out when you open the throttle, because all these things
relying on technology.
But that's I think, you know, we're almost at the risk of sounding like Luddites. Because and I'm pretty sure that when ABS first came out, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, I don't want ABS. I want to be in full control of my braking." You don't want to do it like that.
You can outbrake ABS, and they probably can if you're a really, really experienced racer. They don't want them on, do they?
And when I did the fire bike thing, we were on the airfield and we were doing it. He said, even if you've got ABS, and I think Fortnite did a video about this, even if you've got ABS, unless you're doing the right technique and doing your progressive braking, if you're just activating the ABS, if you're just grabbing a whole load of front brake and you're making the ABS kick in, that's worse than you braking properly. So even if you have ABS, you still have to learn to use it correctly. You still have to brake properly. It's going to save you if you overdo it and you start a skid. It's going to save you from a skid. But the best way is to brake without activating the ABS, to get to the edge of where the ABS was just about to be activated.
ABS is there as a safety feature, isn't it? I mean, most of the time you'll only feel your ABS kicking in if a car's pulling out on you or you've made a mistake. You know, it's not something you rely on everyday riding when you're going around corners and you're braking into a corner and then you're coming off and going through the corner. You know, you're relying on that ABS when that car does pull out on you or the unexpected blows in front of you. You know, you can't just rely on it as oh, I'm going to hit this corner as hard as I can. The ABS is going to save me. I think most people, the ABS is just there if there's an incident or it's wet or you hit leaves.
I think it's human nature. If something runs out in front of you, and I'm thinking of an instance of a friend of mine this happened to, where I don't know what it was. Something ran out in front of him, a badger or something, and he grabbed the front brake, and that was it. He was gone. And I think this bike did have an ABS as well. I think it was a Tiger or something like that. And I'm often worried about that with my BMW because the brakes are fantastic. They're Brembos, they're progressive, and you know where you are with them. But if it wouldn't take much to lock up that front wheel, and off I go. And I'm always very conscious of that because there is no ABS on it, which I'm quite glad of because the ABS models did have a lot of problems and everybody seems to cut it out. So cut their ABS out. But yeah, you've got to be conscious of it, haven't you? But it's human nature. My point is that if someone jumps out in front of you, you know you're going to hit it.
You're going to grab a hand from the brake.
Yeah.
So you're better off grabbing some brake and hitting it 20 miles an hour slower than you are not doing anything.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I think a Pooley, it'd be great if Pooley could join as well because he's exactly the type of person I was talking about. A young guy, exactly. At least relative to all of us old dudes.
Well, you've got me on,
and he's got a beautiful Deauville with his work on.
Yes.
And Pooley,
the younger generation.
Yeah, 30.
Yeah, and you know, the options there is if you know you'd have to be getting something like a Royal Enfield or an older bike and then working on it, which I think is fantastic. I really love the content he puts out, and his bike is absolutely beautiful. Pooley, if you ever sell it, if you ever wanted to sell it, please give me a call first. But yeah,
I think that's another thing with technology as well. If I may jump in, for me personally, I want something to go wrong with a bike and I want to be able to pin it down. I want to be able to think, right, that is that. I don't want something that you can't see go wrong, like something electronic, and then think I have absolutely no idea what to do with it, because that's a big thing for me. I just want to know what's happening. And that's why I think Royal Enfield coming into the system, it's just brilliant for the industry, because they've given us simple bikes. They've given us bikes with proper incandescent light bulbs, where if something goes wrong, you change a light bulb, couple quid, you're back on the road again. Not 450 quid like my NC light is on LED on my bike. It's just simple engineering. If something goes wrong, you can fix it. And that's really important for me as a purchaser, a consumer of motorbikes, is that I want to be able to work on it myself without expensive costs. And what you were saying earlier, sorry, this is another thing I got to get out. I get this a lot. I get lots of things I want to think about and then say. Is that the BMW service is probably second to none, but you do pay for it, is the first point. And secondly, the worst bit about it is that it does range from dealer to dealer. Andy, you've got a good one. I know people that haven't got a good one, and they're going in and they're saying, after 20,000 miles.
Don't get me wrong, I've had a bad one as well.
exactly.
I've had a bad one even with the BMW. BMW themselves actually stepped in with that dealership. Now I found a really good dealer. But,
and that's the same as anything. Most dealers are quite difficult to deal with, whatever brand you go with. From my experience,
I think it's how all new bikes, you're going to get a problem sooner or later, and I think it's how they deal with that problem that makes your dealer. If they're quick enough to respond and deal with it, fix it, and you're happy, then that's fine. But then you get some dealers that don't want to know. I mean, even when I went to buy my Versys, I had the ER. I purchased the ER6N. I had a 650 Kawasaki. I purchased that online. Wanted to sell it. Went into my local Kawasaki dealer because I wanted to up it for the Versys, and I just couldn't get anything out of them. They just weren't interested in me at that particular time. So I live in Hertfordshire. I went to Colchester Kawasaki, which is an hour and 30 minutes away, and they couldn't have been a nicer bunch of people.
That's where you go, neighbour.
I went there because they're not just Kawasaki, right? They're Piaggio group, so they've got the Guzzi's and they've got the whatever else Piaggio owns. Quite a few different brands, and it is a fantastic shop back there. It's really good.
Because it's moved, doesn't it? It used to be on the like a waterfront, and then they moved.
Oh no, I don't know about the waterfront. Yeah,
okay.
I'm much younger than you, so I don't know about that. The one I know is on the industrial estate, and they've got the barber shop in there that I've used. They've got a cafe and they've got a cinema. They've got a cinema in there.
What?
It's really cool. Yeah, there's a cinema. Apparently, it just shows.
We had the same experience. We went to a Touratech in Germany. I mean, they've got a bar, a restaurant, absolutely everything. Fantastic.
Sorry, in a bike dealers.
Yeah, a full-on bar. They have people go there in the evening and drink, and it's actually at Touratech in Germany. It was a full-on bar, a bike shop. They had a workshop out the back where they put stuff on. Absolutely,
it's like heaven.
You've got to give me the address of that because I've got to go there. I've got to go there.
It's just north of Austria, over to the left a little bit above Switzerland. It's great.
Cool.
I did drag everyone.
Is saying when I started out the bike with drum brakes, the front and back. Technology back then was having a rearview mirror. Yeah, very good. and Pooh is saying his digital clock. Deauville has a digital clock. Wow, I'm impressed.
They've got an anchor in the pannier as well. We can throw that out as a handbrake.
Well, I can remember having bikes where if your speedo stopped, it was a case of changing your speedo cable. You know, you go down to the hub, unscrew it there, unscrew it behind the clock, new cable. Back in, you're back in business. I can tell you, it could be a new dash. You know,
I'll tell you one bit of tech that I cannot get on with on the BMW. Half can't get on with, and that's the hill hold. When you pull your hand, either push hard on your foot brake or pull hard on the handbrake, it then puts a hill hold on, so it won't roll back. I find when I'm on my own on a slight incline, it works perfectly well. As soon as you accelerate off, it comes off, goes off. If I try that when I've got a pillion on, you literally have to put 5,000 or 6,000 RPM on the bike and hope you don't drop the clutch out and find the right braking point. Wow. It's absolutely awful. So I don't tend to actually use the hill hold when.
Well, I'll tell you a bit of an embarrassing story. Embarrassing story. When I tried the RT down at Plymouth, I went to do the walk round in this lovely place, beautiful, historic place. So anyway, I went to drive up to the gate, and I could see the gate opened out into where I wanted to go, right? So I bring the RT up, I stop, I get off, I push the gate, and I couldn't open the gate. Now, I don't know what I'd done here, Andy. You probably think, well, you prat, you probably just had to do this and off you go. So I got back on the bike, tried to pull it back, and bear in mind there's people watching me, and I'm going like this, trying to pull this lump back, not realizing that I had the hill hold on. So I just
a handbrake for the bike, isn't it? Once it's on, that's it. It ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I still don't know what I've done to this day, right? But I'm pulling like this and pulling, and they're kind of looking, thinking, "God, that's a heavy bike." But of course, the brakes was on, and but in the end, I had to turn it off and reset it, get off, and then shove it back, and then open the gate, and off I went. But yeah, it's a bit of an embarrassing moment. And then when I went into the gate, I didn't know that I was on the National Trust site. So I was riding through the paths and everyone's going, what's he doing? I got that very, very wrong on that occasion.
There you go, Andy. Briggsville was saying is user error. You just have to pull in the handbrake lever hard enough.
Yeah, is that what it is?
It is handy. If you pull the brake or the foot brake, rear brake, if you apply extra pressure, it then comes on the dashboard and holds the bike automatically till you pull off. Similar to a car. But, two up with a lot of weight on an incline, it does not work. It hates it. You have to give the bike way too many revs. And, when your bike has got that much torque and it's a twin and it red lines at sort of 7,000-8,000 RPM and you've got to take it up to 6, when you let go of that clutch where the front wheel's going, and it's done it several times. That's me, the missus, and all the luggage doing that uphill on one wheel. It's not nice. It's underwear changing moment.
But overall, I do find BMWs, every time I've tried one, it's always given me that, wow, this is blooming brilliant. Again, would I want all that technology? I still don't. I still don't think I want it, but maybe I'm in the wrong place.
That's right, mate. Yeah.
To say, because it's just out of budget.
Do the same to deactivate it. So once it's on, if you pull it hard again, it will deactivate. Right. I tend not to use it now when I'm too up on an incline because you just control the clutch.
What about the quick shift? Has yours got quick shifter on, Andy?
It's got the Gear Shift Pro. First to second can be quite clunky. But what I've found is the more I use it, the better it's got. From 6 down to 1, it's seamless. It's so smooth. It's absolutely brilliant. It auto blips. And I find on mine now, I've lucky enough, my mate Darren, who's a mechanic, he's got the same bike as me. His is still quite clunky, doesn't use it. But for me, 2nd to 6 is smooth. It's only 1st and 2nd that's a bit clunky. I don't tend to use it for 1st and 2nd. If you're full pinning the bike, it's a lot smoother. But for me, the more I've used it,
but it's really nice. I think
it is nice, especially when you're trying to take a picture of something with your left hand and you're changing gear, and people think, "How's he doing that?" Or I'm leaning forward to turn the camera on and still changing gear. It's one of those things that if you haven't got it, you don't notice it, but when you have got it, you think, "Yeah, I'm enjoying this."
Yeah.
Steve never has that problem. He's just DCT, right? So just carry on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very lazy. Yeah.
You like your quick shifter, Carol?
I like the quick shifter.
She does like the quick shifter.
Mine only goes up though.
Mine only goes up, but
I word of warning. I was at a dealership the other day, and I saw a bike which was basically just a rolling chassis, and it looked like a new Ninja 1000 SX. So I went and asked what happened, and apparently what happened was the rider was using the blipper to change down, but did it in a rev range that wasn't the recommended one. So maybe the revs were too low, and he didn't quite match, and he ended up with a bent crankshaft, which Kawasaki were changing under warranty, were fixing under warranty. So he's getting a full bottom end rebuild under warranty, but that does worry me with quick shifters. And again, quick shifter nice, but it's more of a wheelie waving thing, right? It's only really useful on track.
Yeah, I get what you mean, but it's nice to have on the road, isn't it?
See, the thing is that I think BMW, you're saying it's a quick shifter. They label it as Gear Shift Pro or Shift Assist. It's a gear shift assist, and for me, I can ride the bike along normal road speeds, 30, 40, 50 mile an hour, and that will change through the gears as smooth as anything else. You haven't got to be high revving. You haven't got to be going fast. It will do it at any revs and at any speed. So,
and let's face it, it's kind of basic. Well, it seems basic stuff. All it's doing is shutting off the engine for a second to make it go into gear, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah,
and if you're experienced
as well,
you can
it knows what gear you want,
can't you?
Yeah, because if you apply sights, if you're changing up gear and you apply a slight bit of pressure, you can hear and feel the bike wanting to go into the next gear. It's sort of getting ready for you. It's like it's preempted that you're going to do it. And it's caught me out a few times. It changed when I didn't want it to because I've applied just that little bit too much pressure in anticipation of changing gear, and then it's changed gear on me.
Yeah.
I mean, I sometimes do clutch shifts on my bike, and it doesn't have a blipper. I just put the pressure on.
Exactly.
Off and
gear match. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And people say that that's bad for the forks and the gearbox and that. But if you get to feel the gearbox and the engine, you can do it quite effectively.
I'm only keeping it for 3 or 4 years, and it's someone else's problem.
Yeah, yeah. What would you get next? Then,
I
Andy? And you talked about KTM before.
You can put it on Auto Trader. Says never been tracked, never been ragged. You know, just
That's it. Yeah.
Never been
One
wheelied.
careful owner. Yeah, one careful owner.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And I had it.
What would you get next, then, Andy? You're on about KTM, weren't you? Just brake.
I'm hoping to get one of the first rides on the new 1390 KTM Adventure when it comes in. Lucky enough to live 2 miles away from a local dealership. Known them very, very long time. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get that particular bike. Again, I have to look at comfort for distance and two up and everything else. But I'm not a lover of the new BMW. Not the looks. The looks, any bike will grow on you. I just think they've gone the wrong way with the bike. I'm waiting to see what the GS Adventure looks like. Well, it's a shorter fuel tank. It's a shorter bike. It's more road orientated. Although I don't do a lot of off-roading, you know, I have come a cropper a few times with me and the missus when we've been touring and we've been told to check out this pass, and before I know it, I'm on a goat track. I wouldn't want to do that on a sports orientated, but I don't know. For me, I think it's lost a lot of the character of what I liked buying into a BMW.
Yeah, that is the thing, isn't it? That it's attracted the market.
What percentage of GS owners actually ever take it on any kind of dirt road?
I don't know if this is true, but I'm going through the forums, obviously on quite a few. I think BMW have made a big mistake. I think they've had to stop production of the 1300. I don't think they've hit the sales targets they were hoping to hit. They're still selling the 1250 in droves. How many have you seen? I mean, when the 1250 come out and the 1200 come out, you see them everywhere. How many 1300s have you seen on the road? I've seen one, and I do 1,000 miles a week.
I know my mate Jamie is just putting a deposit. He's going to collect his very soon. He's
and not only that, I mean, I paid £12,000 for my GSA. Now the GSA TE is primarily a GS with a bigger tank, slightly larger suspension, and all the bells and whistles. And that was 22,000. The new GS spec'd up is 24,000. What is the new GS Adventure going to be? You're probably looking anywhere between 27 and 28,000 pounds. Can I afford that on a bike? Yes. Am I going to pay that for a bike? No, because I can't keep this one off the floor at the minute, let alone go and buy a 28 grand one and start laying that down.
It's the wrong climate at the moment to be shoving out bikes like that.
It is, you know, and I think other manufacturers, KTM, Triumph, they're keeping their bikes sub £20,000. You've got your Ducatis, they're pushing what, 26, 27 for the V4 if you buy the Pikes Peak. And then, you know, BMW is sort of the next, and then yeah, I don't know where they're going. I don't know whether, I know the price of manufacturing's gone up. You know, buy parts is more expensive than it was 2 years ago, but
all right, can I just
push me out of their market? I'm not going to pay £28,000 for a bike.
Do you remember the days?
That's the problem, right? And I think that's the point. All this tech and all this stuff is just pushing the price up, pushing the price up, pushing the price up. So where does it end? It's just the industry is basically just going to eat itself and do itself out of a customer base.
I don't think. I'd like to see the sales figures for the new 1300. I don't think BMW have hit their targets. I think they've got it wrong.
I love the days when you could walk in to a motorcycle showroom and see all the new tech, and some of you guys remember this, and ladies will remember this as well. Sorry, when you went in and you had the new 800 VFR, which you look at and think, VTech technology, what's that? Wow, that looks good. Or ABS, even EFI to a level, you used to walk in and think, wow, that is awesome. Whereas nowadays you go and you think, oh, I don't really want that. And then you look at the price tag and you think, that is no, just no, you know? And, you know, and again, going back to Royal Enfield, I love what they've done. They've kept it so simple that it's the raw bones of motorcycling. It gets you out in the open, you and the bike and the road and whoever you're with,
Where are they
experience
made?
it.
Are they made in India or are they made in the UK?
Yeah,
Made
still
in
in India. And you get that for a really good price. And what more do you need, really? I mean, to enjoy it. Yes, it's nice to have the power. And you're right. I totally agree with what you're saying, Andy. When you're two up out on the pass or whatever, it's nice to have that power. But when I had the Meteor 350 in this summer or last year, I had the best time on that, and I was chugging around. But I saw every single mile that I'd done, every single 10 meters that I'd done on that bike. I really sucked it up and felt it. But I don't get that on even the bikes that I've got. You're kind of there to get to the destination, and you miss all of that. And yeah, but again, different people, different strokes, isn't it? So yeah,
fantastic. Okay, guys. Well, I'm looking at the clock. I mean, I'm really enjoying this conversation. I could keep this going for another hour if but I actually have to go to the toilet. But I've really enjoyed this. I really want to, you guys have really helped, kept it really entertaining.
how
Great
much money
discussion.
do we get?
Yeah, we're
I'll
getting
buy you
appearance
chips.
fee.
Adam's gonna buy you chips.
Oh right, that's gonna happen.
But yeah, I think it's time.
Want one of them coffees that Richard and Carol were eating in their last video. That looked
Still
like a
got
whole
biscuits.
drink and a meal all in one.
It's all very posh up there, isn't it?
But yeah, I think
2 biscuits with cream in the middle. Can't beat
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Whatever next, a GSA 1250.
Ooh, what me, sir?
Yeah,
but
thanks,
yeah,
Nick.
I think interesting discussion. I think we'll kind of cover the main points. I appreciate you guys kind of giving up your time to join my first ever live stream. I really enjoyed it, and I want to thank everybody who joined in to watch as well, and joining the chat. It's been fantastic. Just before we go, any kind of plans in the offing for next year? I know, Richard, we were talking earlier. You and Carol are already planning a Pyrenees tour.
Yeah, well, do you want to tell what the plans are? Because you've been downstairs this weekend planning it, haven't you?
Planning the Pyrenees tour, going right the way around and across, and yeah, just planning.
I love the Pyrenees. You're going to love it. Pyrenees is beautiful.
Yeah, we've never been before, so it's all a bit new.
And she's trying, because it's my big 6-0 next year, and
this year.
I don't believe it, Richard. Sorry.
Oh,
I don't believe it. No.
So we're doing it, but hopefully by Parador hotels. And if you've ever ridden in Spain, the Parador hotels are something usually a bit different and a bit special.
And all sorts
so you're trying to plan the route between those.
Yeah.
And
not too ambitious as far as distance each day. So we've got a bit of time to explore and see places.
You can't push it too much. You need to enjoy it.
Yeah, but it's looking good, but I need to actually book the hotels now. So it's like actually committing yourself to doing it now.
The ferry's booked, so we're going,
Yeah, but, so yeah, this week we should get it all booked up,
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
So that's what we're planning.
So that's the main one. Anybody else?
What about you, Andy?
Are you doing what time of year are you doing that?
That's in June, so
yeah.
All right.
Should be good. You just might want to check on some of the passes, make sure they're definitely.
I was looking at that cold Tourmalet or something, and it's
you can still find them shut in June. So yeah,
in July sometimes it doesn't open until July, so that's a bit dodgy. But we can go round if necessary.
You can always go a lot of route.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the main reason we went back to the Grossel Glock this year, because the first time we done it, we went in June. It was mid-June, and it was snowing when we got to the top. So that was in mid-June. So
yeah. So who knows? But yeah, we'll see what we get dealt with. But it'll make a good video, won't it? If we can't get up there.
I'm already looking forward to it.
Sure, it'll be fine.
I'm already looking forward to it. What about you, Andy?
Me, got 3 tours next year, 2024.
Wow.
We're September. We're doing Picos. Never done the Picos,
nice.
So we're going to do that.
We've done the Picos. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I watched your video, and I've got a few pointers off of that. Thank you very much. So yeah, I hoping to get down and see Exeter sometime, maybe in August.
Awesome.
Get down that way. And
Yeah.
hopefully our June holidays, hopefully Ireland, and we want to do the Wild Atlantic way. But that's weather dependent. If the weather's rotten, we're heading south.
That's on our list as well.
Yeah.
You just need to have the weather with you on that one, I think.
That's what we're looking. Not booked anything, because even if you book a last minute ferry, it's only £100. Hotels easy when it's just one person or one bike and two people, easy to book on the fly. I've said what we'll do is we'll wait. We'll see what the weather's doing. If the weather's in our favour, we'll go. If it's not, we're on the tunnel. We're heading south as quick as we can. So yeah, that's this year. Yeah, good.
What about you, Exeter?
Yeah, so I'm doing Route 66 next year or this year.
Really?
So that's what I feel like I should say. The reality is I'm probably going to get down to Exmouth,
I was about to say,
Torquay, maybe Paddington. Yeah, so no,
Route
truth of it,
66 in the US, Chicago to LA. Is that what you mean?
that's what I'd like to do. Yeah, but it's not going to happen.
So,
So yeah,
it's doing it via
I-
YouTube.
I've got a really busy year, unfortunately, with work. As you know, Nate, father-in-law passed away last year, so we're getting a buy-to-let on his house. So I'm going to be doing up the house, getting a buy-to-let mortgage, and really, really boring stuff. I'm really, to be honest, I'm quite concerned about how much I can do next year, because there's so much I want to do, and I don't know how much I can do. So I'm just going to play it by ear. I've got nothing exciting happening. More reviews, no doubt, because I can do that from home, and that's about as exciting as my life gets.
Yeah,
I'm
but
afraid.
you're doing the right thing, mate, because that's going to set you up for for a nice little income stream, a passive income stream.
Exactly.
That's really gonna help you in the future.
It's
So
setting me up.
your priorities right.
I think that's what you need to concentrate on, really. Get that sorted, and then the YouTube. You never makes any money, really, the YouTube. So work
exactly.
has to be the number
And
one.
that's my message for you, even for my kids and younger people. You have to build yourself some equity and build yourself some income stream. But we're getting way off the subject here.
That's for the next one. Yeah,
maybe we'll do a live stream on that. I don't know.
Yeah, there's bound to be an app somewhere that help them do that in the future.
Yeah, I hope
there's an app that manages
Probably
that manages how much time they spend on the apps.
Yeah, touch screen on their bike, just bring up the app.
I think it's called a Last Will Testament app.
Paramedic is saying
Thank your mum and dad.
Yeah.
Here's an idea. Maybe that's how I'll start making some money on OnlyFans.
What's your plan do for this year?
I've got the group that I went to the parks with in 2022, and I went to Wales with in 2023. So we're getting together again, and we're doing Scotland.
Wow, lovely.
And I was just chatting to Macca today, and he's saying, I said, "Do you want to join this live stream?" He says, "I'm probably going to be busy playing in the routes." So I'm looking forward to that, because I've never been to Scotland on my bike, and I'm looking forward to that.
For a treat. You get the right weather.
And Macca, the guy who does the planning, is in my group, and he's fantastic. He plans everything. You know exactly where you're going to stop for coffee. He gets the hotels. He's saying, we're going to stay in this place, but there isn't a hotel where we can all stay together. But we're all going to stay in little Airbnbs that are along the same road. He's just brilliant.
Is that Macca Jericho?
No. Is Anthony McNamara. So we call him Macca. The
only thing I'll say about Scotland is there's way more to Scotland than the NC 500.
Oh yeah,
that's exactly what he says. Don't do the NC 500. So we're not doing the NC 500. We're doing a lot of West Coast stuff.
Stay
looking forward to it.
Stay there. Stay where you are. Stay on that West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast is the best bit.
Yeah.
We go
and
when we go back.
And then obviously later in the year we've got the annual trip. My local IM group does an annual trip to that circuit in Fallenbrae, so I'm probably planning a little route tour around that at some point. I'm thinking Black Forest this year. I might go back to the Vosges, but I've got a bit of post-traumatic.
Might not rain.
Just beware of the speed cameras in the Black Forest there. We went back this year after not going for the last few years, and it's it's got really busy and it's got really, really heavy with speaker.
Where?
In the Black Forest.
Okay.
Normally, everyone heads B5. Everyone knows B500 through Black Forest. We tried alternative routes this year, and yeah, it was not as enjoyable as it has been in the last few years.
Okay. I mean, I've got the Simon Weir book.
Fantastic place.
Yeah, I've got the Simon Weir books, and it's got some routes that are beyond the B500, so I might try that. I might try a bit of the Eiffel. We'll see. We'll see. I love. There's nothing I like more than just sitting here with my route planner. You know, planning out routes and dreaming of things. I've got one that does like Spain and Portugal. It takes 2 weeks. I'll probably never do it, but it's just like I'm dreaming of doing it.
Yeah, we need to retire.
My route planner's here.
Yeah, she's planning routes.
Yeah.
Sitting here. But
Was
yeah.
she plan some routes for a fee?
It's bad enough doing our own.
It is.
I think that's a no. Yeah.
Simon Weir will do it.
He'll do it for a fee.
He does it on his website. If you tell him where you want to go roughly, and let him
plan it for you.
plan it for
Give
you.
you the GPX, yeah.
Yeah, he'll do a GPX for you.
Okay.
I quite like planning our own though. Because
I've actually, I can send you over some GPX files of that sort of area if you want, Noob, anyway, and you can pick the bones out of it.
Yeah, please do. Like I said, I've got tons of roots coming out of my ears. But I'll have to pick one. What I'm going to do. I might
the best
I might
ones
do
are
fall and
unplanned
break
anyway.
and then tour after, as opposed to touring and then doing the circuit. So we'll see. All right, everybody. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you very much for joining, for watching, and for joining. If you guys want to stay on for just a second, I will end the live stream here. But before that, I want to thank Pooley, Queen Peaks Biker, Paramedic Relic, and everybody else who joined. Buddy Biker Dog was in earlier on, but had to leave. Riggsville, thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys watching. It's been fantastic, and you know, I've enjoyed doing it, so you might have to suffer through some more of these in the future.
Yeah, I've enjoyed coming on.
Yeah.
So,
It's been good fun. Brilliant.
Okay,
mate. Well
thank
done.
you guys, and catch you in the next one. For now, from everybody here is Noob out.
cheers.
Bye.